Most of us walk into relationships assuming we are on a unique, forward-moving path. We think our emotional lives run on a straight line. The reality is far more repetitive. We find ourselves hitting the exact same emotional walls, choosing the exact same types of wrong partners, and suffering the exact same heartbreaks over and over again. This cycle of endless heartbreak is the starting point of the novel Hepta. Before the story even begins, it captures this exhaustion in its opening dedication. It reads simply, "To everyone who allowed the world to kill everything inside them." We experience this recurring emotional death not because of bad luck, but due to a deep, structural flaw in how we perceive the trajectory of our own lives. The book explores this flaw by dropping us straight into a crowded university lecture hall. An exhausted speaker walks in, drops his papers onto a small desk, and looks out at a confused audience. This is our protagonist, Osama Hafez. He introduces himself with a specific set of credentials: a specialist in marital and family relations, and a researcher dedicated to the science of finding a life partner. Hafez immediately challenges the students in the room. He tells them that their entire approach to making romantic choices is completely wrong. He asserts that human beings do not actually operate on spontaneous, free-flowing paths. Instead, we are running on rigid, pre-programmed cyclical tracks. By framing romance through an academic psychology lecture, the novel strips away the usual fairy tale myths. It forces us to examine love as an observable, predictable human behavior. Hafez lays out his core thesis. Human lives and emotional patterns operate in continuous loops, much like the cycles we see in nature, to ensure continuity. This raises a logical question. If we are constantly walking in a continuous loop, why do we never actually see the curve? This diagram illustrates the answer perfectly. We are looking at a vast circle, but because we are zoomed in so tightly on the outer edge, the arc appears as a completely flat horizontal line. The circle is simply too massive for our limited perspective to comprehend. Because we only see that flat section directly in front of us, we think we are moving into new territory. In reality, we are just replaying saved scenarios and repeating our past mistakes without ever realizing we've been here before. Until we can recognize the massive curvature of this loop, our belief in total romantic free will remains largely an illusion. If life operates as a predictable circle, the emotions trapped inside it cannot be random. They must follow a rigid mathematical code. Hafez turns to the chalkboard and introduces the title concept, Hepta. He explains to the class that it translates from Greek simply as the number 7. He connects this number to well-established human patterns. Just as psychologists have mapped out the 7 stages of grief, Hafez argues there are exactly 7 distinct stages of love. To prove these stages exist, he maps out a clear methodology for his lecture. He tells the audience they will examine 4 distinct case studies, labeled simply as character A, then character B, followed by character C and character D. By applying the Hepta framework, Hafez takes love out of the realm of mystical, unpredictable forces and treats it as a strictly quantifiable set of data. Back in the lecture hall, Hafez prepares a physical demonstration to drive his final point home. He takes a paper circle in his hands and physically crushes it flat against his desk, forcing the audience to see the absolute boundaries of the loop. This action reveals a harsh psychological rule. You can only alter your trajectory if you first recognize the exact shape of the trap you are caught in. This dynamic turns the novel into a psychological nap rather than a typical romance story.